Hello Internet, you've tuned in just in time to hear my plebeian, uneducated, probably quite enraging review of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which I saw last night. Spoilers! All in all, it was a pretty good movie, except for the following things which really got my goat. Towards the end of the battle with the really pretty gold people with their fancy remote control spaceships, Drax is hanging out of the back of Peter's spaceship on a long line with a magical bubble-wrapped spacesuit on. And that's fine, that was awesome. Unfortunately, he was still out there during re-entry. Shouldn't he have been kind of incinerated? Let's not forget that at that same time, when he was coming into the planet's atmosphere, completely unprotected, well, apart from his bubble wrap, Gamora was holding on to him. The whole time! I watched the first movie reasonably recently. I never got the impression that she had super strength. Was that a thing? Did that happen in the first movie? Drax comes in and he's hitting trees all the way down. Surely at least one of her arms would have been ripped off in that scene. More on the pretty gold people. Their high priestess. I mean, I know she's a psycho, but she's blown up 2 fleets of remote control spaceships. And she still wants the Guardians of the Galaxy dead with more passion than a dog humping a stuffed animal. I mean, I know she's unhinged, but... And then she goes to the quite considerable effort of creating a new kind of pretty gold person who presumably is going to be used to fill the gaping hole between now and the inevitable battle with Thanos, who we don't really know much about. I mean, he was kind of a dick to Nebula, and he's blue, and he has a floating throne, and he looks kind of evil. But that's about all we know about him. Oh yeah, and he has a massive chin. Okay, so Peter's got a dad, and his dad's a god, and his dad is also a planet. That's cool. That was fine. I really enjoyed that. One small problem though. When his dad was trying to suck him in and get him to go and do his whole galactic domination thing, he kind of slipped up a bit. He told Peter Quill that he killed his mum. And he thought that was fine, and he thought his son would be like, oh yeah, that's fine, no worries Dad, no worries, let's go and make planets. I don't buy it. How stupid do you have to be? I mean, it's not like he has qualms about killing his intergalactic polygamous children. He had piles of bones underneath the thing. Surely he can be fine with a little white lie. What? I killed your mother? No, not at all, nothing of that sort. She just died of a terrible, tragic accident. It was very sad. I was very sad from all the way on the other side of the galaxy. Now, come and work for me, eh? More on Gamora's supposed super strength. When Nebula comes to beat the crap out of her with a spaceship, she runs into a cave and the spaceship crashes and one of the guns falls off. This gun is probably about the size of a car and probably a lot heavier than a car. No worries. Done! No! No, 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 no. No, that's not okay. It was ridiculous! Despite even just the weight of it, that's one thing. I mean, you can get a lot of adrenaline and supposedly you can lift a car with that much adrenaline. But what about when the gun fires? It usually has an entire spaceship behind it to absorb the recoil. And she's just like a little... She's not even half robot like her sister. There's no plausible reason why she wouldn't get at least blown back a little bit. I mean, she wasn't against a wall. She was just standing on her little legs filled with blood and fragile bits of bone and cartilage. She's gonna get minced! What held her together? Probably the same mysterious force that stopped her arm from being torn from its socket when she was coming down in that spaceship, with probably a 200-kilogram alien man coming down behind, smashing into every pine tree on the way down. And just after this fantastic gun-wielding thing from Gamora, Nebula is, oh no, she's just stuck in the spaceship. She crashed it, and it's a little bit battered, and her foot is stuck. Oh, that's really sad, and it's on fire, and she's going to die. Even though she seems to be able to magically heal herself with her magic robot bits, which is fine, by the way, no problems with that. What I did have a problem with was Gamora sort of waltzes into the wreck and pulls her leg out with apparently no effort, like it wasn't even stuck in the first place. drags her sister off, and she's a little bit grumpy, and there's a little bit of a spat, and then absolutely fine. They might as well have been mates from the day they were born. They're just saving each other's lives left, right and centre, all with a lot of macho grumpiness. Again, I didn't buy it. Nebula's dad, Thanos, has apparently turned half of her into a robot, as a result of Gamora being better at everything than Nebula. I mean, that's fine, absolutely fine. But that level of hatred that they spent quite a lot of film time building up, it doesn't dissipate in probably a 30-second, oh look, I saved you, let's be friends scene. And it's probably time for a fairly good comparison here. Nebula has a damn good reason to be pretty pissed off at her sister, and the Guardians of the Galaxy in general. The Gold Chick? They stole some batteries. I mean, those things are probably expensive, but it just doesn't justify the lengths that she goes to. It's ridiculous. Every time you see her little shiny face, you just think, really? You're gonna destroy another fleet. You're gonna genetically modify some fancy gold person. Yeah, look, he'll probably be silver, and then that'll make him really special. And then we'll all have to think, oh, he must be really strong. And the next movie, it's going to be a long, bitter struggle against this new threat that's risen up. But the whole time I'm going to be watching that, I'm going to be thinking, why is this silver person trying to kill the Guardians of the Galaxy? Oh yeah, because his mum has a petty grudge where a little raccoon stole a couple of her AA. So even after you've made the difficult acceptance of the fact that Nebula and Gamora are finally friends again, I still think that it's just to keep the plot moving, because of course later Nebula has to save the day by becoming a human robot battery to keep the lasers in his mining machine working. I mean, hang on a second. Earlier in the movie, the genetically modified raccoon, GE-free New Zealand by the way, he uses a magical wand thing to repair Quill's smashed spaceship, and it was really cool, and I thought, yeah, okay, why not? Sci-fi. Then you look at Nebula sort of being electrocuted by the spaceship that she's trying to keep working with her own body. Where's the magic wand now? If this technology exists, why do they not have one on every spaceship? Or maybe the only one in the whole galaxy is owned by the genetically modified raccoon. So, when Peter Quill meets his dad finally, and it's all great, and his palace is very pretty, and the whole planet is like a giant utopia, fantastic! We all saw the end of that coming, by the way. And then his dad says, yeah, well, it took me millions of years to figure out how to shape it, and it took me even more to build this whole planet layer upon layer. Maybe you'll get that power. And then, of course, later in the battle scene between Ego and Peter, they threw that whole million years thing out the window, and there's a giant Pac-Man, and he has no problems whatsoever fighting his dad. Where did that come from, exactly? His music. Oh yes, his love of music is what gave him the power to be as good as his several-million-year-old father, who's had several million years more than Peter to figure out how to do all of this. Let's not forget that his dad is a full Celestial. Peter he's just lowly human, half of him. I mean, the fact that he's got any celestial genes at all is a miracle in itself, but he's just a ball of organs and bone. He's not a planet. So, all in all, that was a pretty good movie to watch. Unfortunately, pretty much every plot development in the entire movie was done using a cliché. It builds up with a nice bit of plot and a little bit of character development, and you're feeling really good about it, because Marvel are really actually very good at making movies. And then something like Gamora picking up a car-sized spaceship weapon would happen. Or some gold people would send yet another fleet of remote control fighters to kill them all. The movie just asks you to suspend your disbelief probably a few dozen too many times. It just doesn't really compare to the first one. I have nothing bad to say about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. It was a brilliant movie. Unfortunately, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is sort of going the way of most Marvel movies, and there's more characters, and less character development, and more action, and more bad jokes, and more cliches. Thank you for watching this review, if you can call it that. Please go and watch the movie anyway. I'm just a grumpy old bugger.